About 30 years ago, when the so-called discipling movement in this country was relatively young and growing like wildfire, I was approached by a man outside a restaurant. "Are you a disciple of Jesus?" he asked. When I told him I was, he was surprised. "We like to ask people if they're disciples of Jesus," he explained, "because usually if we ask them whether they're Christians, they will just say yes. But if we ask them whether they're disciples, they'll be less sure of themselves." Having grown up knowing that Christian and disciple were the same thing, it never before occurred to me that people would view these two terms differently. But I've come to see that he was right. It's easy to be a Christian. Everyone is a Christian. But a disciple of Jesus? That sounds serious. I'd like us to spend a few minutes thinking about this biblical concept of discipleship that, as Americans, we might not be familiar with, even though we've heard the idea our entire lives. Forms of the word disciple appear 268 times in the New Testament, but only in the first 5 books, in the Gospels and the book of Acts. It doesn't appear at all in the Old Testament. It's used almost exclusively in reference to the followers of Jesus, early Christians. In fact, it was these disciples who were the first to be called Christians in Antioch. It would be easy, since we know that the disciples and Christians represent the same individuals, to just pass over the meaning of the word disciple. But if we do that, we miss out on something important about the term itself. Let's think about some people from ancient times who had disciples and see if we can get a better picture of what the word means. Think about Confucius. Think about Socrates or other ancient Greek philosophers. Think about the ancient martial arts masters. The disciples of these men didn't just sit in a classroom to learn head knowledge from their teacher. There were people who followed a master everywhere he went, left their homes, and stayed with him wherever he led them. They studied him, not only his ideas, but observed how these philosophies worked their way out in his life and in their own. This brings new meaning to the words of Jesus. "If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Abiding in the words of Jesus is not simply reading the Bible often, it's living the word itself. So a disciple is a dedicated follower and imitator of a person. They have left their allegiances to the world around them and are willing to deny themselves in order to submit to the will and the ways of a master. A disciple of Jesus is one who is all in. Are you a disciple of Jesus? Here are some questions for your contemplation. A disciple of Christ will have adopted certain life goals that are set by the Master. What are the goals the Master has set for us? Second, how would you describe, in a few words, the discipline of Jesus? And by discipline, I mean the code of behavior that he followed. Third, is there an area of your life that you're still holding out as your own that you haven't forfeited to the way of the Master? If so, confess it to God and to yourself.